So last time you guys voted for Reaper and Zarya in the comment section, and today I'm going to be doing Reaper, and next time I'm going to be doing Zarya. With that said, if you're watching this video and you want me to talk about any different character or any different player on a certain character, please leave your suggestion in the comment section down below, and I'll try to get to the one with the most, likes or the most comments, and go on from there. As well with that, if you feel like you have any, personal tips with the character that I'm talking about today, or if you feel like I missed some really big general stuff about Reaper and some of the big plays that you see this guy making, please also do make sure to leave that in the comment section down below. With that said, today we're talking about Spirit, probably one of the best Reapers that I've really seen, and of course, he is, I think right now, the #1 ranked Reaper on the NA ladder. I'm not sure if he still is, but at least when this video was recorded, he was at that time. And let's just talk, I guess, about how he plays. Now, as far as, the tips in this video, first off, one thing that we saw that was pretty nice is that when he was next to the Rhine, and when the Rhine was shielding, he just simply walks up, headshots him twice, and he doesn't really shoot the shield. Of course, if you are trying to stall on defense, you can try to shoot the shield, but often, we don't really see Spirit going for that. We see him walking close, trying to get straight through that shield and kill whoever's behind it, which is kind of cool. We don't see that with way too many players, but he does go very offensive, really no matter what his team comp is, so that's something you might want to think about. As well with that, when we see him getting hit by the McCree, he doesn't instantly waste his shift. We see instead that, when you get by a single McCree shot, he tries to run away. And maybe last second when he's about to die, he'll go for that shift. That gives you more range that you can try to get out without wasting your shift in the first place, or your shadow step. But as well with that, it makes it that you can get further away. If, let's say you get hit twice in the back, well, you can shadow step away for the third one. So that can be kind of nice. And yeah, generally, just try to save that ability as long as you can. Another thing that I feel like is really cool about this guy that we see very often is that he tries to get to the high ground, and then from there, he jumps off the high ground because it mitigates a lot of Reaper's really big problems. So if you E up to high ground and then wait up and then jump down on someone, you can get rid of the problem of not being able to, get in close range. That can often really beat that. You can get rid of the problem of getting headshotted too easily because your hitbox, that really gets rid of as well. And generally, yeah, it just gets you in a good position very quickly. You want to wait for your team to get up there, and there you go. As well, this can really easily block out people like Widow and make so that, you're in their face, they can't really get out. It's pretty nice to do, I'd say, often, getting on high ground and then jumping down from there. As well, we also see him not simply just shooting the closest target. Mainly, he tries to get the Mercy first because she's probably the best character in the game right now, maybe. But really, he just shoots whoever he really needs to. And he won't just shoot the guy that's standing in the front. Often, we see Reaper just hitting whoever's closest to them because, they're almost melee range characters, so why not? But you don't really always want to do that. Right there, we saw something nice, which is that when you're 1v1ing other DPS, you want to fight around corners. We didn't see him really, walking straight in against that other McCree. He walked around the corner, and especially when he got flashbanged, walked around the side, and then he went in for the 1v1. It's very hard for other DPS to beat you with your consistent damage 1v1 if you are close to them, if you are around corners. But often it's hard to beat them if you don't get close. And of course, corners are pretty much the best way to consistently get close on other people, which is nice. As far as, some other stuff as well, we often see him waiting and then bum rushing their supports a little bit. He doesn't wait way too much in this game, but he does often wait for a few seconds, sees if their support is in the back line, and then goes for the support. I think we see this maybe in a little bit and probably near here as well. He usually goes for the support, and then after that, after he kills them or at least does some damage, he'll shift back to his own front line. Right here, he's expecting his team to come up, and they didn't really. That was unfortunate. But often, get the pick, go back to your own front line, or at least get some ult charge and scare away the support, and then go back to your own front line. Often, if you're in team fights and you know that you probably aren't going to be using your shift way too much anyways, then that's a good use of it. And that's something you might be wanting to actually try to focus on, instead of just kind of doing nothing like that. I think soon we get to see him using his ultimate, and one thing that I actually heard him say about using his ultimate is that often as Reaper now, when you're using your ult, you kind of need to be pocketed. If you aren't being pocketed as Reaper, you die pretty quickly. I think it's right here. Yeah, you die pretty quickly. You're an easy target. And if people turn around while you do have that lifesteal, it doesn't really save you way too much. You do need a shield. You do need healing. And if you don't have anything like that, you can go for your ult. But it's often not that great of an idea. So you probably do want to wait. And you probably do want to keep that for a little bit later on. One thing that you could do with your ult, though, is that instead of just trying to get kills with it, which you often do want to try to do because it's a ult that gets a lot of kills, is that you can also use your ult to force the Mercy, Lucio, or Ana back a little bit and stop healing their teammates. If all their teammates are around the corner and then you ult, you know, some people can shoot you, but if you're getting like a Zarya shield or a Winston bubble, or you're getting at least, you know, some Mercy heals and some Ana heals like I was talking about earlier, getting pocketed, then for the most part, people won't be able to turn around and insta-kill you. So you can, for the most part, kind of just force the supports out of there and make so they can't really do way too much. That's a good way to stop them from healing their team, and you can often just win team fights because you're just at a big player advantage. Not really way too much bad stuff going on from there, and yeah, it's probably a good thing to do. As far as playstyle, it's kind of changed a little bit with Reaper. Beforehand, you had to play very defensively, always wait around corners, and while that's still a good idea, while you can still one-pop headshot people like that, or at least, you know, next shot them, often now you can play really a lot more aggressive in this newest patch because, you know, D.Va, you can go in with her, get a lot of damage pretty safely, and burst people with the D.Va, and as well, with the Mercy res, like every 20 seconds, and with her ult even less, you could often die, and then, you know, die in the backline, shift to the backline, die, and then get rezzed, and then kill the enemy backline while nobody's really ready for you. While all the tanks are up near your front line, while all the DPS are really far up, you could often just kill those guys without way too much trouble. So that's something that we might be able to see a little bit, and it's definitely a strategy that can kind of work. Right here we see him shifting to the back line. Of course, if you are in a fight and you know that you're probably going to die, what you might want to do is just to try to shift to the back line and one-shot the enemy supports. And I guess you could kind of relate it to the previous thing of being able to be rezzed, because even if you die, you might be able to actually just get rezzed and go after them again and go after the front line and do all the stuff like that. Overall, he synergizes really well with his two new characters, or I guess the two reworked characters, and yeah, it's pretty good. We do see a little bit of Widow camp for a little while, which isn't the best for our team. We don't really have much to beat Widow, and I feel like often our team comp isn't that good against Junkrat Widow, but we still see that we pushed up quite far. We made a lot of good plays, and while that's definitely not a good team comp for us against their team comp, it was obviously good enough for the most part, which, you know, you can't really ask for way too much more than that. As far as if you are versus a Widow, I know a lot of people do have problems. What you really want to do is either try to force them off high ground, push them to their spawn, or similar like that, so they can't really shoot you that easily, or get one of your tanks to do that, or I guess just completely ignore her and focus the tanks. Often you don't want to ignore her unless you're like in a Winston bubble or right next to a D.Va, as you're just going to get one shot and die. But those are your three main options. A little bit hard to play and to go around, and you do need quite a bit of teamwork to do that, but those are the options that you can go for, and those are what you can do to try to win that. A final thing I want to say, I guess this was from my offense, but it kind of goes into defense also. You can actually try, as this character, to quite easily bait enemy tanks into overextending, and then shift out and let your team kill them. That's a strategy it's very basic, but like most things in Overwatch, it's basic, but most people don't do it. And if you actually started to do it, you could actually see quite a bit of just pressure and just a bit of work, and you can see it actually working quite well for yourself. Over here we push up a bit too far, but it's not way too bad. And I guess something about Spirit the player that we don't see way too much is that he actually pushes up much further than most of the people will in this game. As Reaper, he really likes to get in there. He likes to put on a lot of pressure on the opponents and a lot of pressure on the map, and that's probably why he's such a high-ranked player. He could just wait around corners the entire game. He could just wait around and do nothing the entire game, but he pushes up. He tries to get high ground. He tries to get a lot of damage, and tries to, I guess, just visualize the map and, you know, flank and do all that stuff like this. A flank that we see right here. Generally, he's a lot more proactive, and you might want to try to do that for yourself, as, yeah, it does work pretty well. Now, I guess talking about his team comp a little bit, we see that it's, you know, kind of awkward. We do have a Reinhardt, which is nice, but the rest of the team comp is pretty divey, pretty offensive, so we do have to go in with that. And if you do have someone like a D.Va, or I guess a Winston as well, you want to make sure that you're diving in with her and really allowing her burst to actually finish people off. Often as D.Va, she can kill people by herself. She can get out a lot of damage and a lot of burst. But if you're going in with D.Va and you're both getting out that damage, you can often like two-shot tanks as a team, or even like almost one-shot tanks together. So you get that one headshot or two headshots, and then your D.Va gets a lot of damage. Realize that you have a lot of burst together, even just being, you know, a tank killer. I guess that makes sense, but having a tank on your team can really help you a lot right there. As well, D.Va does make you very safe and makes it that you won't really have the chance of getting insta-killed. So that's something you might want to keep in mind as well, as a lot of times you can just kind of get insta-killed, which kind of sucks. That's one of the things I really don't like about this character, but, you know, it's not way too bad. Right here we get wiped pretty bad. We do have the Valkyrie though. We got our ultimate. We're going to go for it right here. And we're actually kind of looking at where we want to go after we finish ulting. We see the beam and we go straight after it. That's something you want to make sure you're doing. When you are ulting as this character, don't just simply kind of think, you know, whatever, I'm ulting, maybe I'll get some kills, maybe I won't. Think about what you're going to be doing after your ultimate ends. And going from there, use that idea and that strategy to try to win a team fight. But yeah, again, just look at who you want to attack after your ult finishes and get ready to attack them, because often your ult doesn't do actually as much damage as getting 1 or 2 headshots against one of those characters that maybe would not have died in your ult. So mainly targeting a Mercy or Ana or Zen, something like that is probably your best bet. Right now we see him a lot of the time on the high ground again. You can jump down, get a lot of damage, do whatever. But as well, it will stop any of their snipers, such as if they had a McCree, I guess, if they had a soldier, or if they had the Widowmaker, if they happen to bring that back. It would stop all those guys from taking that high ground and really just stop them from having any advantage like that, which is kind of nice. As far as team comps, again, our team comp isn't that great versus their team comp, but you can still try to outdamage their DPS on the opponent's tanks. You can try to outpick them, outweight them, and that's essentially what we're doing. Right there we got hit by the Pharah. Our team comp, again, it's not that great versus theirs, but we're holding it together, we're making it work, and we're not dying, you know, way too much. We are dying a bit, but you know, it's working out. We still got those gold damage, those gold, really everything. When we're fighting someone like a McCree, I think we see this a little bit later, maybe right now. As you see, we didn't overextend to kill the McCree. I know a lot of people would have kept walking forward, but you probably would have died. You can't outrange a McCree like that, and instead, we get a few kills on those guys in the back line, or I guess the front line, and then we can walk straight to the back line and finish these guys off as well. Right there, we saw him actually shooting the Zarya shield. I see a lot of Reapers doing that, and sometimes I do that myself, because if the Zarya is very low HP, like 1/4 or less HP, you can break through the shield and then one pop her in the body. So that's a thing you can do as well if you don't want to immediately ignore the Zarya shield, especially if you have a lot of other bursts in your team, like let's say a D.Va, and maybe a Junkrat or a Pharah or something like that. There we go. That can work out quite well. We're kind of finishing it off right here, though. You know, waiting up on high ground again. Using our E, don't forget to use that. I know a lot of people say it's kind of useless, but use it for high ground. Use it so that you can wait up there, stop people from trying to take it from you, and I guess again, be able to jump down. And the final thing I want to talk about, other than, you know, just generally working out, pushing up quick and dealing a ton of damage, is that he has a really weird looking crosshair. So you might be able to actually try that out. I feel like it's pretty good because it gives you a good medium range for your accuracy with the circle and with the lines, but it also gives you a great close range with the small circle in the middle. So kind of gives you the best of both worlds, which is something I wasn't really ever thinking about. But yeah, that's a weird crosshair, but probably a pretty good one as this character. But anyways, that's all I'm going to talk about today. That's all we really need to know about Reaper. And I feel like Reaper is a pretty good character this meta. Maybe not the best character, and he does get countered by quite a few picks, but obviously he still works, and he still is someone you can go for, and he does actually synergize quite a bit with a lot of the new characters. I mean, he does get countered by quite a bit in the meta, but he also does synergize really well with the other half, so kind of take it as you will. Anyways, as always, guys, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like or comment down below your own ideas or anything that you feel like I missed, and we can try to go through that. As always, guys, though, thank you all for watching, and have a wonderful day. I'd like to thank Gilded.gg for sponsoring this video and mainly helping me a lot through the adpocalypse. So, Gilded itself is a website focused on finding, founding, and expanding your gaming team with relative ease. You can schedule events, recruit new members, build team comps, and find teams to scrim with and to scrim against. Best of all to you guys, it's free. You can get started yourself with the link in the description below, and if you sign up by November 10th, you'll be entered into a chance to win a $50 Blizzard gift card. So, maybe I'll see you there.